Getting medications to patients should be easy. Unfortunately, that isn't always the case. Drug shortages are a growing problem in the US. In 2005, there were 61 drugs on shortage. By 2010, that number grew to 178. Now, that's still only about 0.5% of all drugs used in the US per year. But of those 178, 132 drugs, which is 74%, were sterile injectables, like drugs for chemotherapy, emergency medicine, and anesthetics. Shortages force patients and their healthcare providers to either go without the drug or switch to other medications that are often more expensive, less effective, and have worse side effects. Is there a bad guy keeping life-saving medications from patients, someone to blame? The problem is bigger than that, and to fix it, we need to understand it. It comes down to supply and demand. The demand for drugs is different than it is for other products. For example, take chocolate. Let's say you love chocolate. You usually spend about $2.50 for a pound of it. But then the price goes up 3,000% and it costs $7,500 per pound. So you decide you can live without chocolate for a while. During a drug shortage, some drugs do go up as much as 3,000% in price. These drugs come from gray markets that hoard medications to later sell them at large markups. And for drugs that are medically necessary, demand won't change because of price. Patients need them. The supply side is not very responsive to price changes either. Drug manufacturers follow complex requirements for current good manufacturing practices, which is good. We want our injectable drugs to be sterile and free of glass, fungus, or anything that can harm a patient. But these stringent requirements make manufacturing, upkeep, and development both time-consuming and expensive, and profits, especially for older generic drugs, are low. Increasing production without the proper resources could spell disaster, even in a chocolate factory.
Fine, you're doing splendidly. Speed it up!
So to keep costs low, manufacturers make only as much product as needed and keep as little of the quick-to-expire drugs in stock as possible, meaning that any problems from supply to mechanical malfunctions can lead to a shortage. Even increasing the price for short-term increases in costs is difficult, since Medicare pays by the average wholesale price, or AWP, which is updated every 6 months. So manufacturers can't increase the price to make up for short-term costs, and companies often choose to use their valuable production lines on more profitable drugs. So the problems in production are numerous, from supply to regulations to low profit margins. But there has been progress. In October of 2011, President Obama passed an executive order to curb shortages. The order encouraged drug companies to notify the FDA of potential shortages, increase staffing for the FDA, and released a report to assess the factors and possible solutions for shortages. In 6 months, 128 drug shortages were prevented. By May of 2012, there were only 42 shortages, compared to 90 at the same time last year. Regardless of the problems, regulations, production, payment methods, we can solve them. Because in the end, it's all about taking care of the patient.